This is the first of 3 videos that I'm doing to show you a method that I use to draw airplanes. And it's a 7-step process. In this video, I'm just going to give you an overview of the 7 steps to kind of give you the big picture, and in the subsequent 2 videos, I'm going to do a demonstration of how I use this method to draw this Fokker Triplane. So one of the hard things about drawing an airplane, or really any three-dimensional object, is getting everything proportioned and positioned correctly in your drawing. It can be very hard to do just a freehand drawing of an airplane from your mind, from your imagination. If you have a photograph of the plane that you're copying, that's not so difficult to do, but when you're trying to draw the plane from a point of view and you don't really have a photograph from that point of view, it can be really hard to get everything right. And that's really what this method is all about. It's helping you to align everything correctly and position it and foreshorten it and so forth, so that it winds up looking very realistic. Here are the 7 steps. I'm going to go into each one in detail, but I just wanted to quickly list them here. We're going to create something I call a scaffold, and we use a 3-view drawing to do that. Then we create a foreshortened reference grid, and I'll show you what that is in a second. We're going to transfer that scaffold to the FRG. We project the wings and tail to their correct positions. Then we outline and shape the fuselage, the wings and tail, and then we do the cleanup and final details. So here's the 3-view drawing of our Fokker Triplane, and I got this off the web at this website here. He has a lot of really good quality 3-view drawings. That's his homepage, so check that out. But the web is a great resource for these things. Just about any plane you could imagine you could find a 3-view drawing for. So to make our scaffold, I draw these, or I create these square reference grids, and I position my we're just going to make scaffolds for the top view and the side view. So I position those in the reference grid, and then I create my scaffold, which is just these simple geometric shapes that outline the parts of the airplane. And these are the scaffolds by themselves, and you can see that by putting them in a reference grid like this, it makes it easy for me to determine exactly how to, when I redraw these, when I project these onto my FRG, I'll be able to see exactly where they need to go. Alright, so the foreshortened reference grid is just a reference grid in perspective, and there are 2 planes to this. In this plane here, I'm going to use for my top view scaffold, and then this plane here I'm going to use for my side view scaffold. And in this FRG, I could draw the plane going from right to left. Actually, that's, as you saw from the first image, that's how we are going to draw the plane. But I could draw the plane going from left to right if I wanted to. It's just a matter of how I draw my FRG and then transfer the scaffold to it. And by drawing a different FRG, oriented in a different way, I can basically draw this triplane from any point of view I want to, from in front, behind, above, below, etc. So it comes down to how you create this FRG. Right, so in step 3 here, I've transferred my scaffold over, and you can see how with the reference grid, it makes it easy for me to figure out, how to draw each of the parts. This is my top view scaffold here. My side view scaffold, this is the vertical stabilizer, the box around that, and then I have these dashed lines to show me where the wings go and where the landing gear go. In the next step, I am going to project the scaffold parts into their right position. So it's a triplane, so here's the upper wing, the middle wing, the bottom wing, and the horizontal stabilizer and the tail all need to be projected out of this plane of the top view and into their correct positions. Next, I'm going to outline and shape the fuselage. So I've drawn the side view outline here. I've drawn the top view outline as well. That's right there. I then can use those to generate these bulkheads, and I shape the bulkheads. That's what gives my fuselage a three-dimensional shape, and then I just draw the silhouette of that, and that shows me what my fuselage looks like from this point of view. Do the same thing, basically the same thing for the wings. My scaffold shows me where the wings go, so I outline those. I shape them by drawing the wing ribs, and then of course I have to add some of the other details to the wings to get those looking right. And the tail, not much to do. I just round off the ends. There's a little cutout here. The vertical stabilizer here, the rudder, has that real distinctive kind of apostrophe shape that the Fokker planes had at that time. And you can see how that scaffold helps me make sure that I get that in the right place and make it the right size. And so all that's left to do is do some cleanup and add final details. I get rid of my scaffold, my FRG, my bulkheads and everything. I add in details like the landing gear and the pilot and the guns, wing struts and some other things. And you know, we're really most of the way there. We'll add our markings and shading. So I decided to draw my triplane using the markings of Werner Voss's triplane. His triplane was an olive drab. It was kind of a common camouflage pattern that the Germans used at the time. It was olive drab and it had these gray streaks all over it. So, so that's his triplane. The last thing we do is fill in our background, and that's it. Our drawing is complete. If you want to see a demonstration of all of the steps that I did to draw this airplane, check out the next two videos. Also, go to my website, greggoodwinstudio.com, and you can download a free workbook that'll show you how to do this drawing, or you can go to amazon.com and you can get my book, The Art of Drawing Airplanes.